Hello, my name is Duncan Moss, and I'm a lay minister here in Verwood, and this is my thought for this coming week. The events of the last few weeks in the Ukraine have disturbed most of the world. The thought that in 21st century Europe, carnage as we are all seeing on TV could happen was unthinkable. But it has happened, and that has shaken us all. The emotion of seeing such suffering. There is now a fear, a worry about, that I have not seen in the last 30 years. I am old enough to remember, just, the final years of the Cold War. Then there was an ever-present background fear that maybe one day the Russians might attack us with nuclear weapons. I can still remember the voice of that actor, Patrick Allen, on TV telling us on behalf of the government what to do in the event of an attack. In my quieter moments of thought in those days, it was scary and emotional. Those emotions which I thought were gone for good have resurfaced again. And whilst I do not consider us to be at the same level of risk as before, it is hard not to be emotional about it, for we are all human. We are now adding those emotions of fear to all the emotions that we have gone through in the last 2 years with COVID, whatever they might be. Loss of loved ones, to restrictions in life, to financial hardship. If we were able to strip away what is happening in the Ukraine and COVID, what would we be left with? The worries of global warming, the cost of living increases facing us all, and the debate as to whether Brexit was right or wrong. I have never known a time in my life when so much emotion has been placed on people at the same time. Not only because of those national and global issues, but also the 21st century problems which are affecting our younger people. Social media in many of its forms has a dreadful downside, and we now live in a society that puts on us to be perfect in many ways and which promotes materialism to be the way to live. It is no wonder that we are seeing in this country an exponential rise in mental health problems, especially amongst younger people. I'm horrified to learn that 10% of our kids have clinical mental health issues, and every week 1 in 6 adults in this country experience a common mental health problem. And we are less tolerant than we used to be. Surely a large proportion of all of this is caused by emotions resulting from the fear and worry about the world we live in. We as a society, and especially the TV and the press, are very good at fueling that fear. I know a number of people who have said that they find the best way to improve their mental health is not to watch or listen to the TV. An ex-president of the United States, Franklin Roosevelt, once said, "The only thing we have to fear is fear itself." Whilst we cannot make light of those things happening about us and be naturally concerned, we must not fear them. For it is fear that damages us and prevents us from flourishing. Jesus made that point very, very clear to not only his disciples, but all who listened to him as well. He said, "Can any one of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your life?" He also said, "Do not worry," so many times. He must have meant it for those who believe in God. And Jesus lived in a time and place where there were invading armies, the Romans, and a puppet regime in place, King Herod, who were very anti-Christian. I am told that there are 365 references in the Bible to fear not or worry not, or words to that effect. I have never counted them, but I do find that number rather interesting. To me, that says that God feels that we should continually remind ourselves every day that as Christians, God has redeemed us, and we must not let that negative emotion of fear rule our lives. And so, I encourage all to think about putting fear back in its rightful box in our emotions and not letting it out, so that we can be naturally concerned for the issues of this world in a life-affirming way. Thank you, and continue to pray and support those in Ukraine.